Welcome back. My name is Jatte. What?
You are in black and white here, and I don't...
Hang on, I'm a black and white in here.
Hang on.
Well, how?
Hang on 1 second. Not really entirely sure. Did you snap us in?
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay.
I mean, do you want me to do it now? All right, let's see if this works.
Yup. That was it.
That work?
You're good.
Solid.
Go for it, man.
So that was my fault. You know what? I guess let's just roll the intro. Again, welcome back. My name is Jason Quid, and today we're talking about color theory.
Ooh, I like this one.
You like color theory?
Yeah, why not?
Honestly, you might be the only one. Most people find color theory light speed boring.
No, not at all. I actually find it super interesting. I think it's fascinating that you can make all colors out of just three. It's actually pretty awesome.
You know what? I agree. And that is a great place to start. So the three colors my friend here is referring to are what we call in color types our primary colors. Essentially, primary colors, as our friend here has stated, are just a group of colors from which all other colors are obtained. And those three colors are red, yellow, and blue, which make up the start of our color wheel. So if we mix these in varying ways per the color wheel, what?
Oh, no, nothing. I just had a thought. Okay, so let me ask you this. If the primaries are red, yellow, and blue, why do we call it RGB?
Actually, you know what? That is a solid question. It's a good one to answer. So RGB refers to the primary colors of light.
Wait. Are you telling me that there are two sets of primary colors?
No. There are technically three.
What?
Yeah, okay. Allow me to explain, all right?
Please.
So there are two sets of colors, the colors of light and the colors of pigment. These are commonly referred to in the art world as additive color and subtractive color.
Got it.
All right, now let me bore everybody here for a second with a little bit of science, because it's actually very important, especially when we're talking about color theory and the color wheel and so on. The human eye sees on a visible light spectrum of wavelengths. These wavelengths are measured in nanometers, which we can actually see a certain number of, roughly between 400 and 700. To our eyes, those wavelengths manifest as color, starting at the 400 range with UV and then ending at 700 with infrared. Now, you would know this better as the rainbow.
Nice.
Long story short, when rays of light hit our eyes, they activate the red, green, and blue cones in varying ways, creating all of the colors that we can see.
Okay, so that's why red, green, and blue are the primary colors of light. I got it. But why then are they referred to as additive color?
That's actually a good question. So when you add a color of light to another color, it essentially gets brighter. When you add all three colors together, it gets so bright that it becomes pure white. It holds that name because it is basically the presence of all color. And it gets a bit different when we talk about pigments. So basically, the more colors that you add on top of each other in pigments, the less light it receives. Adding them all together creates pure black.
Making subtractive color.
Yeah, no, you got it. Okay, so there has been this long-standing debate in the art community about what the true colors of pigment are.
Really?
Some will argue that the true set of primary colors are really cyan, magenta, and yellow. And they're right. Now, I know that kind of contradicts everything we've been talking about and pretty much what we've been taught our entire life, but it is true, technically speaking. You need cyan, magenta, and yellow to make what we now refer to as the primary colors. You also can't make those out of red, yellow, and blue no matter how hard you try, thus making them the true primary colors, which is why you see them a lot in printer ink.
I'm having a hard time with that one.
They're technically just more accurate, I guess.
Okay, so why then do we even use red, yellow, and blue as our primary colors?
Well, for one, it's simpler. And for two, we're super lazy.
Huh. Okay.
Red, yellow, and blue was created before we understood light and spectrums and so on, and when we did finally figure it out, no one really ever bothered to change it.
Okay, well, all right, I guess that makes sense.
And in the spirit of laziness, for the rest of this tutorial, we're just going to use red, yellow, and blue as the primaries. It's just easier.
Wait, so does that mean that all other colors are secondary colors?
Well, no, not quite. So secondary colors are just colors that can be made by putting any two primary colors together. And those colors are orange, purple, and green.
No, I mean, I get that, but just looking at a color wheel, aren't there more colors than just 6?
Oh yeah, no, there are. So the color wheel consists of one more set. It occurs when you take your primary colors and your secondary colors and you mix them together, creating what is called tertiary colors. Really isn't anything complex. It's simply the colors that are in between the primaries and the secondaries. Those colors are yellow-orange, red-orange, red-violet, blue-violet, blue-green, and yellow-green.
Okay, all right, well, hang on. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I may have missed it, but I don't remember you saying brown in there anywhere.
No, you're absolutely right. I didn't say brown, and it's kind of on purpose because it's actually not on the color wheel. Now, I'm not going to get into how the brain and the eye perceive brown, but I encourage you to Google it because it'll blow your mind. But the way to make brown is actually pretty simple. You just take two secondary colors, any one of them, and mix them together, and you'll get the color brown. It's really not that hard.
Well, yeah, okay.
Now that we have those out of the way, there are actually two more color types.
Fourthiary and fiftiary.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
With laughter.
Anyway. The next one on that list is complementary colors. This one's a little less about mixing and more about pairing. It refers to the two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. Even though they might have a strong contrast, they're actually very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. And you can see this in paintings like this.
Oh, okay, so they complement each other, complementary. I get it.
Correct. Now, the last on the color type list are analogous. This is sort of opposite of complementary color in that these colors sit next to each other on the color wheel. These are usually used in tandem with each other to create contrast in a painting that has a simple palette, and you'll usually see these in paintings like this. Now, those two also exist in a color grouping inside of color theory called color relationships. So these are basically colors that, when paired together, create what's referred to as a cohesive color harmony.
So when exactly do you apply color relationship then? Because I'm confused with that.
I'm actually really glad you asked. Knowing color relationships will help you pick a color palette that is good for your art. Understanding what colors work well together will help you create art that is pleasing to look at.
So like colors that get along together, right?
Correct. But actually, that's not to say that you can't have a negative color relationship sort of on purpose.
Well, I've been in a few of those. You know what I'm talking about.
There are some artists that do it really well, but that's neither here nor there. Let's look at a few more inside color harmony. So up first, we have double complementary, and it sounds just like what you think it would be, using two sets of colors in your work. But they're typically led by one main color. Following that, we have split complementary. Now, this one is pretty interesting in that instead of using what's directly across from itself, a color uses the adjacent color on either side to create its color harmony. So basically, instead of the complementary color, it goes down and then uses the two on there that surround the complementary color. Make sense? Directly after that, we have what's called a triadic color relationship. This one's a bit like split complementary, but takes on a bit more of an OCD vibe when it comes to color picking. A triadic relationship uses 3 colors on the wheel, all evenly spaced from one another. Got it? Good? Okay. And finally, we have monochromatic. So this one's unique in that it doesn't actually use another color to figure out its palette. For its harmony, it uses different shades and tones of itself to create the relationship.
Okay, wait. You actually taught me this before. Shades and tints are the lightness of a hue?
Precisely. Look at that. Good job, buddy. Let me explain a little bit about what he's talking about. So in color theory, there are a very important set of terms that you need to learn to be able to use everything that we've been talking about effectively. Those are hue, which is just a fancy term for pure color. Saturation, which is just the degree of purity in a color. Tint, which is a hue produced by adding white to a color. Shade, which is a hue produced by adding black to a color. And temperature, how warm or cool a set of colors can be. You'll see this a lot in real life. Think of it as, you know how the summer and fall are very orange and the winter and spring are very bluish green? Those are difference between warm and cool colors. So that's kind of what color temperature does. It sort of adjusts how we feel about the art we're looking at.
Temperature, so are you saying to me that, okay, let me see if I got this, that depending on how warm or cool a color is can make you feel something?
They can, but that is another video for another time. We've learned a lot today and I don't want to overwhelm it. So in the next video about color theory, we will learn more about color temperature and color meaning and how they sort of meld together to create a feeling inside of your art. But we're gonna end the lesson there. I hope that you got a little bit of value out of this video and, you know, maybe learned a little something about the basics of color theory in the process. And you know what? If you did, maybe drop a like down below, hit me with a little comment, let me know what you'd want to see in the next video. But as always, thank you for deciding to spend a few minutes of your day with me. It is always much appreciated, cameraman. As always, you've been fantastic. And with that, I'll say peace.